This is the spec for the midpoint formula module. Midpoint formula. And there's going to be two types of problems that we give the students. One is we just give them 2 points, and they determine the midpoint. The other type of problem, we give them the point and the midpoint, and we ask them, the midpoint is the midpoint between that point and what other point? Let me show you. So we could say, what is the midpoint between, and maybe we can color code them so that the students know where to look, between, I don't know, 4, 5, between 4, 5, and between the points 4, 5, and -2, 3. So we could graph those points. So -2, 1, 2, 3 will be right over there. We could even mark it over here, -2, 3. And 4, 5 is over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4, 5 is right over here. And then we can write, well, the first hint they get, let me do that in the black. The first hint they get is the x coordinate of the midpoint is the average of the x coordinates of the points, And so we could write 4 plus -2, all of that over 2. 4 plus -2 over 2 is 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. They click a hint again. We do write the same thing, but now for the y coordinates. So we say the y coordinate, well, we could write coordinate of the midpoint, I'll just write it short right now, is the average of the x coordinates of the y coordinates, of the y coordinates of the 2 points. And then you write 5 plus 3 over 2, which is equal to 8 over 2, which is equal to 4. And then if they click hint again, we say the midpoint is 1, 4, and then we can graph it. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, right over there, the midpoint. And we could even show that, well, we don't have to show that the distance is the same. I think you can visually see it right there. And you might want to make that really big, or however you want to do it, whatever you think makes the point clear. And obviously, you want to change up these coordinates. So there's really any point on this coordinate plane right here, any 2 points. You don't want them to be really close to each other, because then the midpoint gets difficult. But I see nothing wrong with having decimal midpoints, having a 0.5 or not. And then you put a bunch of choices here. And if you want, the choices can be kind of if you make mistakes on some of the arithmetic for the midpoint. Now, the other type of problem we have here is we give them one of the points and the midpoint, and then we ask them to solve for the other point. So we could say, let me write it there. The point, 2, -1 is the midpoint of 3, 5, and what point? And what point? And what point? So we could, if they click hint again, we could say the average of the, and we write out average, I'm just doing a little shorthand right now, of the x coordinate and 3, and let me do it in 3, and 3 should be 2. And so we would write x plus 3 over 2 is equal to 2. And then solving for x, you could write out all the steps. You could have x plus 3 is equal to 4. X is equal to 1. And so that's our x coordinate. They click hint again. We write the same thing for the y. The average of the y coordinate and 5 should be -1. Should be -1. You could have color coded this, and we would put a -1 over here. And if you color coded this, we would have color coded it over here. And actually, just to be clear, I should have graphed these points. That's the whole point of having the graph paper here. So I should have originally graphed this 2, -1, 2, -1, and I should have graphed the 3, 5. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have graphed 3, 5. And then for the y coordinate, we say y. I don't want to do it in a different color. So we say y. So the more you want to use colors to make things clear, the better. That's always better. Y plus 5 over 2 is equal to -1. And we can give them the steps. Y, we could write solving for y if you want, so it's the same. Whatever you think is right. So y plus 5 is equal to -2. Y is equal to -7. And then I ran out of space down here, so you could write, so the other point is 1, -7. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right over there. And that's it. Just those types of problems, and people should be able to figure out midpoints or the other points if they're given. And you always obviously want to make sure that all of these points are between plus or minus 10.